Who want to find where anxiety is coming from, why we have it, the roots, the causes, something that you probably didn't hear from your doctor or your friends or other experts. Maybe you've already heard that. It's good to know that. Anxiety, which is worry, right? Worry is the natural organic name. And anxiety is like diagnosis. Like, think about these two words. The same feelings, worry and anxiety, create different pictures in your mind. Anxiety as a diagnosis feels like, oh, it's like psychological illness. Worry feels okay. That's not that bad, right? It's not that bad. It's just concerned, worried, which is when we have something unknown or something unfamiliar, or we are launching a project, or we are moving to another city, country, having some difficulties or some big changes in our life. We are worried. However, when we say I'm anxious, your body symptoms intensify in times. Hello. Come on, everyone join in. Write in the comments if you hear me well, and also what are you anxious about? And if you don't know, let's talk about that. So when you are anxious, what happens in you already know? You probably already know all of your physical symptoms, why you have symptoms. You probably already heard that the system, unregulated, not resilient to stress, whatever it is, you need to really realize that it is the indecisiveness, confusion, inner conflict that is not resolved from childhood. Whatever, right? It's your body is gonna talk for you. You don't express, the body will talk for you. You don't resolve, the body for you, right? So decisiveness and confusion. I had my first anxiety when I was 4, and when my mom left me at home when they went for a vacation. They took my brother and not me. Sorry, Mom, but I still remember that. And I became anxious because what? I've lost my main person. I didn't know if that's going to happen forever or it's just going to happen for a little bit of a time. I started to develop the fear of being rejected, the fear of being loneliness, right? Anxiety is the fear. Anxiety is intensified fear. If you intensify anxiety attacks. And if you intensify anxiety, it will turn into panic attacks when your body is like, take you out of there, right? Also, anxiety is when something became very important to you. What does it mean? What does it mean? For example, you are going to school and your parents are pressuring you to be good, to be perfect, to bring only good marks. Your picture of the world will be, it's important. If it's important, I need to be the best at it, or I need to perform to fit in. That school performance will become very important to you. And what it can lead to high achieving, overachieving, and a perfectionism. So people who are perfectionists, they will have anxiety regarding performance, financial capital, recognition, validation. All of this will be the cause of anxiety for them. For example, if at some point you realize that being alone is like death, which happens to children emotionally neglected, who had emotionally unavailable parents, who were left alone to fend for themselves, they started to believe that being alone is very, very dangerous. They started to be afraid to be alone. So a relationship and being attached to someone will become very important to them. So they will become anxious regarding relationship, building family, building connections. If that picture of the world. Another one, friends. If you look at your parents when you were growing up, and it was very important to understand friends, connections, right? They may feel anxious. You may feel anxious when you're losing a friend, or how it happens at school. Anxiety will happen. The worry. You'll get worried. What if I'm alone? What if I'm... So this is what happens. When you have anxiety, you already know what happens in the body. Unregulated nervous system, the habit. Anxiety is a habit. Yes. But what is the root? What is important in your life? Whatever is important, if the job is important, if financial capital is important, money is important for you, then you will get anxious about that. And you won't get anxious about something else. Whatever is in your life will give you anxiety if it's unresolved, right? So even if, for example, you are in grade, you feel okay, but you get jealous, you get anxious about whether that person will stay with you, whether that person loves you. Things that your body is telling you, resolve me, ask you. Any symptom is the language of your body. Another reason why we get anxious is that we give control to anxiety. So how do we give control to anxiety? We are controlled by systems. Control system. It's a very thing. I've never, by the way, talked about. I'll say that in this live, and you can rewatch it. I'll post the replay. What is control system? It's something that control us and our, though you can control it. However, at some point you decided, okay, that system decides for me. The biggest control system, world order, right? When you're watching the news, when you're afraid of the future, when you don't know what's going to happen, you start to put scenario, you're looking at what is happening in the world affects your inner world. So that's called world order. Controls the way you behave, your fears, right? What you're going to do. Are you going to plan ahead 6 months in advance? Whatever. Another control system, government, right? Government. So sometimes whatever's happening in the country is giving us anxiety. Like, I don't agree with that party. I don't agree with political decisions of the country, and you can get anxious. By the way, when we get frustrated, it's also another manifestation of anxiety. We get angry and frustrated inside. It's like you want to get it out. It's a control system. Parents, sometimes you're 45 and call you and you feel like you're still 5 years old because your parents are telling you, either criticize you, or they are judging your decisions. They are trying to kind of push you towards what they want you to help them, for example, move to another house, and you have your own stuff, so you don't have the time for that. So you become angry. Say no, but you cannot say, but you also don't have time for that. So this inner confusion, right? You don't know who to choose. Do I choose me, or do I? So parents can become your control system, as it was in the childhood, right? And we sometimes even every time, for example, mom calls or dad calls, we feel anxiety or resentment. And that can happen, of course, if there is some result, if you are not emotionally separated from your parents. There is a practice that helps you emotionally separate from your parents. Another problem with the anxiety and the cause is indecisiveness. If you haven't to make decisions in your life, then you will get anxious about every single event that happens in your life, and usually in our life, to kind of push us to make the decision. Something either negative, something stressful, to please go learn how to yourself, choose yourself. Don't ask anyone for permission or support. Do it. But no, we haven't learned how to make decisions. So we are in indecisive mode. The price of making a decision is too high. What can it be? Let's talk about changing a job. So you don't like your job. I'm not talking that it happens to you, but you can definitely resonate if that happened to you for you in the past. And you want to change your job. You don't know what to do and how to. So you have another opportunity, but you are afraid because the price of leaving the comfort is too high. You don't happen. Okay, you know what's going to happen. You are indecisive. So you're like, no, I'm going to stay at my old job. It's okay. It pays the bill. And you still every morning. By the way, people who don't like their jobs, they have very often anxiety in the morning on Mondays or Sundays. They feel better towards Friday, but feel really bad and anxious by the end of Sunday, beginning Monday. People who, so they will get anxious, or every morning, right? So please think about, when do you get anxious the most? And that will tell you a lot. If you are anxious in the evening, then it means that is switching off. By the way, your logic wants to rest at night, and your subconscious mind never sleeps. So you sometimes get anxious because you cannot let go of control. Sleeping is letting go of control. If you're not able to do that, again, you can get anxious. If you are anxious during the day, that means that you have triggers, the same environment that you are, triggers, right? So people who have phobias and as well can get triggered at different times during the day. People who have fears will be triggered when that fear, for example, public speaking, driving, flying, it will be in the period of time of the flight or driving. But the more anxious you become, and sometimes if you don't listen to that, if you don't resolve it, you still push yourself, you can get panic attack. Sometimes we don't feel body emotions. By the way, when you are very anxious, you sometimes don't even feel your body. You're like all in your head, overwhelmed thoughts, a lot of ruminating, philosophizing. When you're too much in your head, you sometimes don't listen to your body, and you right away have a panic attack, right? So when the panic attacks come out of nowhere, it means that you didn't listen to your body before, and your body's like, okay, it should give you the most severe, right, symptom so that you listen. Panic attack is telling you, I'm taking you out of that. Why you became anxious or fearful of the thing that shouldn't be feared, right? So for example, anxious because of driving, anxious about public speaking, rejection, criticism. Why? Because at some point you were very emotional. For example, you are 8 years old, and at that time your parents are separating, divorce, separating, a lot of fights. If at that moment your teacher told you, go and do the presentation right now in front of the whole class, and you were very emotional, you can develop fear of speaking up in public. So if at 12 years old the hormones are playing out, you're in this teenage stage, and at that moment one person gives you a comment regarding your body and how you look like, you can develop that belief, you can form that belief, because very, very emotional, very emotional at that moment, and something happens, that's it. The belief is formed, and it may lead to different so sometimes people start to see their body differently. They eating disorders, right? Or overthinking regarding weight. Some binge eating can happen when someone, or trying to lose weight all the time. Third one, comment. Flying as well, it gets triggered when something emotional is happening. Around that time when you fly, you can develop a fear of flying. And there's a little turbulence, and at that moment something happened. I don't know, divorce, or your child is sick. and the turbulence, and you can, boom, the trigger is there. And your mind will remember you were emotional, you were fearful. This is going to be your fear. So you never know when you have some fears, whether it's rejection, criticism, public speaking, it all gives you anxiety. It's because there was something when it formed. Sometimes it's the very, very continuous criticism from parents, and the child, they want to stay quiet, lack of confidence. Maybe sometimes it's just the trigger, which gives anxiety. Anxiety is a language. Come out of that. Come out of that situation. Is that clear? I hope it's that clear, or any questions. So control system, when you are, by the way, money is control system as well. Sometimes we are like, it's never enough. I've made $3,000 and I was okay. Now I'm making $15,000 in a month and I'm still not okay. So the problem is not in the money, as in the inner world. By the way, the more we earn, the more we expand our desires and needs, and of course we want more and more and more. It's natural for a person. Comparison, anxiety caused by comparing to others. Comparison is a natural state. So if you take yourself as a child, and someone will show you roots, you look for a good one. You will look, like at the age of 3 or 4, you will look for the best. So you will choose the best for yourself. You will compare. So if you take people from old tribes, go to hunt, or they would go to gather berries, they will choose the best for themselves. They will compare what is the best. The same. So it's all ability to compare ourselves with others. And this skill we need to control. We need to learn how to control feeling. So this is in your power to control it. So what you do, you start to compare yourself with yourself yesterday, right? So how can I, as I was yesterday? And it's a skill. It's a skill, just like you go and learn how to brush your teeth every day. The same, really. It's really easy for you probably to form some habits, and you feel like, oh, this would be so much harder with comparison. No, it's just consistency. Every habit, consistency. So next can be your control system. If you, by the way, many times when I work with my clients, many times my clients tell me, oh, I'm just anxious. I don't know why I'm anxious. When we go into hypnosis, when we go deeper and deeper, to lose money, they're afraid to lose financial stability, and they get anxious every day. They want something for themselves, not leave the comfort zone. So that can give as well. So lack of resources. What does that mean? Root of anxiety, lack of resources. I want to buy a house, but I don't have money. But I still want it. All of my friends already have, and I'm 45, and I still didn't have it. Anxiety raises because you want something, but you don't have the resource. I want to find a new job, but I haven't yet gained the skill that I need for that better job. And so you feel it's either this or nothing. By the way, when you have an attitude of nothing, all or nothing, you probably have anxiety as well, because you don't choose anything in between. All or nothing, that will cause anxiety. That will cause anxiety. You have to break it into different stages if you want some goal that you feel you don't have resources. So lack of resources. Sometimes it's a lack of inner resources. You don't rest enough, and that will give you anxiety because you are tired. So it's lack of inner resources for recovery. Sometimes you cannot deal with stress because you don't have inner resources. You're very tired. Your whole body, leave me alone. Just leave me alone with all of your routine and your everyday. I just want to recover. Sometimes that happens as well. So what is blocking you? So for example, you're anxious or you're worried, concerned, you have anxiety day and night. It's at some point in your life. What is blocking you from healing? Right? What is blocking you from it? Right? So the first one is opposition conflict. I call it opposition. This is when I'm going to fight it. I'm going to suppress it, fight it, numb it, everything possible to hide it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to smile and everything is great, right? So you suppress it, you numb it, you distract yourself, you fight against it, right? So that conflict can block you from actually from healing. Another is active phase. So what means active phase? When you are in the active conflict phase, which means that something emotional happened and you're still there, you're still living that conflict, that stress, you didn't resolve, didn't make a decision, you're still in a fight, in an argument, sick, in the hospital, you don't know what to do, what's going to happen. If you're in an active state, that's going to block you from sure. You probably understand that as well. Another thing is conflicting beliefs. I want freedom. I want to be free from anxiety. I want to enjoy, but at the same time, you have a belief joy in life from back from the childhood. You have a belief having available to me. Thank you. Having fun is not available. It's not good. My mom, and then your mind regresses. Your mind believes that having fun and enjoying life, it's too selfish. So your mind has conflicting belief. You want to be free, but at the same time, you are you believe that having fun is not good. Of course, you will conflicting belief. Your mind is just doesn't know what to do. The universe doesn't know what to give you, so it's gonna block the healing. Another conflict is prognosis diagnosis. If you have exhaustion, panic attacks, you go to a doctor and they give you prognosis and you start to unconsciously believe that one statement. Believe doctors, of course, because we're supposed to trust them. It's natural that they want the best for us. You start to trust the tests and what they tell you, and you don't accept any other point of view. That can block you from the healing as well. What I was talking about, taking full responsibility for your own healing. So if you don't take that responsibility for your own healing and you put it on treatments, medications, yes, it's going to help. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's going to help you at some point to numb it, right? To maybe relax you, to make you more calm, but it doesn't resolve the conflict. For some, by the way, it can help them come down and make a decision. Yes, then the conflict will be resolved. But for many, it numbs so much that we're not in this world. We are just kind of living, surviving, right? So if you, what the doctors tell you, you need to research different points of view. Be open to different points of view, because that's going to block you from healing. I love different modalities. I tried this kind of therapy, and then this kind of, I tried EMDR just to see how it's like. Couple of times, really loved it. I tried different modalities of hypnotherapy, not the only one that I'm trying, that I'm in. I tried CBT. I tried so many, because I'm open to different types of healing and guidance. If so, prognosis, diagnosis can block you from healing if you only trust one point of view. So that is very interesting. So all or nothing, right? Prognosis, to fight against it, to also can block your healing. And one of the most important one is having conflicting beliefs. I want to heal, but taking care of myself is selfish. Of course, you're going to have conflicting beliefs. They are not going to work. Will be blocked. So if you want to overcome, you can not 100% get rid of anxiety, you'll still have worry, something new. So you move into another country, or you'll still have anxiety and worry. But anxious every day was like unconsciously, not even realizing where it's coming from, that you can definitely overcome. One thing is resolving the conflict. Anxiety never just happens. Anxiety is not chemical imbalance. Yes, maybe you have, for example, was very anxious, but it wasn't about genes. It was that you looked at your mom and you copied her behavior. It's not about genetics. It's about environment. Everything that is triggered in your life is about environment. Yes, there are some genetic, of course, illnesses, disorders, conditions, but we are talking about anxiety. It's psychological. So, and it's coming from your childhood. So some feel anxiety in different parts of the body, and that also is very important. So if you feel anxiety in your stomach, it's mostly the survival. Our digestive system is the first system that develops when you are conceived, or when you conceive a baby, right? Embryo. The first one, the digestive system, going in and out, going in and out. Yeah, the first one. So everything starting from your mouth and going to your system, it's all the primal conflicts, so survival conflicts. If you feel tension in your muscles, it's like your bones are hurting. So it means devaluation conflicts. So I'm not good enough. It's not enough. I don't think I can do it. I don't believe in myself. Right. So digestive system is survival conflicts, money, loneliness, losing a job, losing someone, losing a loved one. So that will be in the digestive, so the survival conflicts. And then muscles, it's all I'm not good enough. Tension, right? If you have skin problems, right? So rhinitis, allergies, and you're anxious and you start to like social conflicts, right? Social conflicts, separation, social. So there are different conflicts of them, but these are main. If you look at the system that are most affected when you're anxious, you can tell what conflict it is, and it's already so much easier for you to overcome it, or at least start to heal. What can you do right away when you are anxious? When you are anxious, like anxiety is taking over, usually for your mind, there is no one but you. Sometimes we are anxious and we don't think about anything but that anxiety. That's it, the overwhelming. Even like, for example, and I was really worried. I didn't understand the body symptoms. I didn't know anything about anxiety. But I looked at my daughter, didn't even take care of her. I couldn't cook for her. I couldn't take care of her because my mind was so occupied. Was the problem. For your mind, only you. Unfortunately, there's only you when you are in the state of fear, anxiety, or panic attack. So you can else because you are anxious. In order to do that, ice water, massage of your ears, do it. Vagus nerve massage, do it. It helps a lot to regulate and calm down, and making some decision. Making some, at least you're anxious, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm anxious, I'm gonna go work out. I'm anxious, I'm gonna finally tell my boyfriend what I'm doing, what I'm thinking about. Like, make a decision. This is gonna help tremendously with anxiety. Anxiety is unresolved. Resolve, express, and ride into the recovery stage. Safe. Okay, it's okay. Maybe there are multiple layered conflicts. Yes, could be, right? So you still feel, but it's increase and decrease with every decision you make. I hope that this information was valuable to you, give you some understanding of why we get anxious, why our body reacts to whatever we see, whatever we feel, we think. So please, 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 I remind you, do the inner work. This is the only way how you can overcome it for good. You're still going to be a little bit worried, but still overcome it for good. If you have any questions, please DM me, post, comment video. I'm going to post it to all platforms, my Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And also, if you want to understand anxiety coming from, release the limiting belief, my booking link for the session and for the consult call is in the description for my profile. So you can always contact me and we can chat in your healing journey. You can start it anyway, but some people will need help and some people can do it by themselves. Bye.